Okay, I'm going to show you exactly how to tune a crawler to get the best results possible. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure your crawler is completely maxed out. You want to max out the suspension, max out the tire and wheels, and max out all of the upgrades. I haven't messed with like any of the gear upgrades, but tires and wheels, alright, when it comes to tuning, you want to make these as big as possible. If you look at a real life crawler, you'll notice they have big old tires, big wide tires. The wider the footprint, the harder it is to tip over, so wide tires are good. Make your wheels as tall as possible. Rim size, I usually leave that alone. Now when it comes to tune suspension, I'll show you the first most important things. Alright. Travel, all the way up. Stiffness, 12,000. It's very important to have the stiffness at 12,000. And your dampening needs to be at 20,000. It's very hard to get it exact, so mine's at 20,079, close enough. Alright, so now I'll go back to the bottom. Brake type, I'm not really sure what this does. Brake type's probably not very important. I always pick axle type 1. Now you'll see the pumpkin hangs down here. Axle type 1 it doesn't. So that should give you a little bit of extra clearance, I guess. Rear steering for a crawler, you want to have it maxed out. If you want to drive around fast with a crawler, I would turn that off. But for actual rock crawling, you want to have it maxed. Travel, all the way up. You want as much ride height as possible. Stiffness, I showed you at 12,000. Yes, you lose some ride height by only having it at 12,000, but it doesn't bounce off the rocks. If your stiffness is too high, you're just going to bounce off stuff instead of crawl up it. Shock size, that's all cosmetic, alright? That must be the rear. I mean, wherever you want it. Whatever looks nice. I don't think that makes it ride any different. Shocks, I picked shocks number 2. There's shocks 1 and shocks 0. I feel the shocks do change the way these things ride, and for most trucks, shocks 2 seems to be the ticket. Dampening, 20,000. That's also very important. If you don't have the stiffness and the dampening set like I do, your crawlers aren't going to work right. Access width. Okay, that's how wide your axles are. The wider the footprint, the harder it is to tip over. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Every single crawler in the game is tuned exactly like this. I've spent hours on each one messing around with the tuning, and I keep coming back to this exact tuning on all 4 of the crawlers. So now that I've showed you how to tune one, I've showed you how to tune all of them. And real quick, we'll go into the engine upgrades and whatever. So upgrades, I've got engine power maxed out, grip maxed out, the weight reduction maxed out. There's no diesel upgrade for this. Durability is maxed out. Now we got 3 more. Gearbox, I have not messed with that yet. E-brake, don't need it. Tracks, I've bought tracks for some trucks and I just don't like it. Now we're going to go out and drive all of the crawlers, alright? I'm going to try and do a quick rundown on all of them really fast. We'll start with this guy. As I showed in my best crawler video, this one has a couple drawbacks. The front end sticks out and you can't put a winch on it. Now what I'm going to do right now, this is going to show you how good of a tune this is. Most people seem to have pretty lousy tunes. I see people trying to climb up these rocks and they're just bouncing off everything. I'm going to fly up this at high speed. And watch how she just goes up everything. She don't bounce off nothing, she just climbs. Going as fast as possible. If you tune your crawlers right, I mean, they'll just do everything extremely well. And I'm in high gear. I'm not in low gear for the extra climbing power. I'm just trying to go fast up this hill. I mean, sure, there's some spots that didn't work out as well, but if you noticed, I mean, it was just going over all those rocks that fast. Now I'll go back down real fast. I mean, I'm hitting certain things and it's causing me to bounce, but you get the point. I mean, at high speed, normally you're not going to rock crawl at speeds like that. Now we'll drive up the hill real nice and slow, just to show you how good this actually works for normal rock crawling. Alright, we're going to put her in low gear. Watch how nice these axles flex and move over these rocks at a normal rock crawling speed. You cannot beat this build on any of these crawlers. No problem getting up anything. I really wish you could put a winch on this crawler, which you cannot. So if you get stuck, you can't pull yourself out. So that's kind of a disadvantage. But you see how nice she goes up these hills. Now we go down here. Watch how nice she goes down something like this too. I mean, just real smooth. Right down though. Now here's a challenging spot to get up. Let's see how this one gets up this spot. Not a problem. Alright, I mean, this crawler is one of the best in the game, except for this front end. Now I'm able to hit this in an angle, alright, and that'll get the tires onto the rocks because I'm hitting it at an angle. But if you're hitting something straight on, that front end gets stuck on the rocks and you can't get your tires onto the wall. None of the other crawlers have this problem. You also get a slight problem like this on the rear end. See, now I'm stuck again. That's the one major problem with this crawler, is that front end sticks on things. But if you hit it at an angle, you can get up there. But sometimes, no, I fell down. Sometimes you get up here, and if you get too straight up and down, that rear end actually catches on the rocks and you get stuck. So that's a major disadvantage. But this would be one of the best crawlers if it wasn't for that whole fact of the front end and the rear end sticking out. Like right there, the rear end stuck on something. See, that's a big problem. I would be able to crawl up that if I wasn't getting stuck on things. But this crawler is just smooth and it gets up everything extremely well, as long as that front end's not getting stuck on stuff. Like right there, I could normally crawl up that, but now my front end's stuck. As you can see, the front end's against the rocks, so that's a big problem. Now, like I said, if you come up at the right angle, you can get the wheels on stuff. You can crawl up things, no problem with this crawler. It's just a little bit of a little bit harder to get out of certain spots with this crawler. Like right now, you can see the front even hitting there. So this is a very hard spot to get out of with that crawler if you're trying to go up things that are more of like vertical walls. Like I barely made it up that. So now we'll hit another crawler so I can show you how all of these drive. The other ones will be a little bit faster videos, I think, because they don't have that issue I need to show you. Now we'll move over to this guy. This is definitely one of the best all-around vehicles in the game. If you turn off the four-wheel steering and you just want to drive around, this one is a blast. So this is just a great all-around vehicle for everything. This is probably one of my favorite vehicles in the game, to tell you the truth. But see, that rear wheel steering will make you spin out. So now we're going to put her in low gear. Watch how nice she just climbs right up these. Same exact build. Everything is done the exact same way on this crawler as the last one. Like I said, I've spent hours trying to tune each one, trying to make them better than this. And I just can't do it. This seems to be the build, the perfect build for a rock crawler. Now if you'll notice, I have these tires on all of my crawlers. These seem to be the best all-around tires in the game. The stock tires are pretty good, but they won't climb up mud. Like there's this big mud hill right here. It's a giant hill of mud. The stock tires, no vehicles seem to get up this with the stock tires. But with these tires here, pretty much all vehicles will climb right up that hill. And they also do very good for crawling and just regular driving around. Now as you'll see, I'm able to get my wheels onto this rock here. And I was able to climb up it. You do have to get these things at the right angle. But this will climb right up spots like this as well. This is an awesome crawler. Whoops. I mean, it will usually get out of all kinds of tight spots that you get down into. This is a very hard spot to get up. I can usually get up this spot with this crawler. It takes a little time, but you can you gotta get it just right, or you pop off the sides and stuff like that. But this crawler is a champ. So there was a quick run up and down the hill with this one. I'll move on to the next. This is just to see how so you can see how they all drive on the rocks. That one really has no disadvantages. I mean, that's one of the best crawlers in the game. Next, we'll go to this one. It's lacking the ride height. It's not quite as, does not have as much clearance as the other crawlers, but it's really not a problem. I do have a little harder time getting up some of the hard spots with this crawler compared to the other ones. Yeah, there's that mud hill. I'm not going to go up it, but you can see how steep that is. Stock tires won't get up there, but these will. These are just a really nice tire for pretty much everything, including rock climbing. Go back to the normal camera. Put her in low gear. And you'll see how nice she climbs up everything as well. Real smooth. This is a great vehicle. Pretty much all the crawlers are awesome in their own way. They're all a little different. And again, this has the exact same build as the other ones does. This build just, or I should say the exact same tuning. This tuning just works. I mean, I really can't get it a better tuning. I'll go down this. I mean, just nice and smooth. We'll hit that tough spot to get out of. This one usually climbs right up it. I think this one takes a little more effort. I think it's due to that little less clearance on the height. But she will usually get right up here. Having a little harder time today. There we go. This is a very nice crawler. I can often get out of here. It's a little hard to crawl up this. You gotta get it just right. If not, you're gonna fall down into this hole. But pretty much all of these with my build will get right out of these holes, no problem. Normally, I'm actually surprised this one's not popping out of here. I never have this much trouble getting out of one of these holes. Huh. There we go. I must have been kind of in a weird spot or something. This is another spot I can usually get right up. So after we're finished with this one, I'll show you the last and the best crawler in the game. Usually I don't have any trouble getting up here with any of these. I'm not sure. Some days I do think the vehicles drive differently. Anyways, you get a good idea. I mean, this is still a very fun and awesome crawler. Now we'll go hit up the last one. And I recently bought this one. Like I said in one of the other videos, I was kind of reluctant to buy this crawler because I don't really like the looks of it. But the four-wheel steering is amazing. It's got loads of power, almost too much power actually. And it usually gets out of the tight spots a little easier than any of the other crawlers do. So this thing is just a beast. Alright, here we go. Same build as all the others, or same tuning, I should say. Right up there. I mean, that's a high spot. It's easy to spin out with this one because of the amount of power it has and how aggressive the rear wheel steering is. So you really gotta be careful not to just slide off of something because of all that power. I mean, right there that almost got me, but right up this stuff, I mean, right up the hard spots, like it's just nothing. This thing just crawls like a champ. Go down to this hard spot. Oops. Now watch how nice it goes right up here. Just plop right up. This thing gets out of the tight spots extremely well. Didn't hit that one quite right. I mean, she'll really just go up everything with very little effort. Go down here to some of the harder spots to get out of. Look at that flex. Check that out. Correct stiffness and dampening plays a huge part on how much flex you have. For these crawlers, you definitely want a lot of flex. Right out of there like it was nothing. I can probably jam myself way down into these rocks and still get out of these crazy tight spots. I mean, this thing just, it's very hard to get stuck with this guy. Man, look at that. Oh, I thought I was going to pull myself back out. Not quite. I mean, some way or the other, I can almost always get out of any spot with this crawler. That's why I think it's one of the best crawlers. I mean, it doesn't have, I shouldn't say it doesn't have a problem getting up certain things, because as you can see, it's not that easy all the time, but you can usually get out of anything with this crawler. I guess that wasn't a good example. Let me pull this one over here. I mean, look at that four-wheel steering. It's all over the place. Great for crawling, not good for trying to drive around at high speeds, though. But we can climb right up stuff like this, no problem. Just pop, pop, right up there. This thing just rocks. See if we can climb up here. Bouncing all over the place. She will get up there, you just gotta... I'm probably giving it a little too much throttle. There are some spots that are extremely hard to get up. Most of the time, if I spend enough trying, I can get up those. It's rare that I find a spot that I can't get up. I mean, there are some spots that nothing's going to get up. It's just impossible. But this will usually just run over everything pretty well. So that's pretty much a rundown on all of these crawlers. I mean, if you want the best vehicle for rock crawling, I would definitely get this one. The orange rail buggy I have that I showed you, if you want the best like all-around vehicle in the game, I would probably get that one. It's excellent at crawling, it's excellent at running through all the trails, through the mud pits. I think it's better than any of the trucks in the game. That's just a really fun vehicle for all around, so hit a nice jump here. Nice front flip. Almost a perfect landing on that one. Come back around and hit it one more time. So if you lock the differentials and you put it in high gear and you just lightly tap the arrows to turn, you can keep it from spinning out. But it is very hard to control. It took me a while to get the hang of controlling this thing with the rear wheel steering. As you can see, it'll still spin out real easy. So you gotta be real careful when you're trying to turn at high speeds, just little teeny taps. Now without the differentials locked, you'll see it tries to spin out even with the little teeny taps, so it's just one of them things you kinda gotta play with and get used to. So yeah, there's a rundown on the crawlers, exactly how to tune these things and how they all drive with that tune. But yeah, this thing's a blast. So alright, hope this video helps you guys.